Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. How are you today? Well, it is my distinct privilege. My name is Mike Porter. I'm the general manager for Truth Traveler Branson. It is my honor to introduce the voice of P.O.D, and likely much more recognizable, the voice of Connie Kendall from the world's longest running radio drama adventures in Odyssey. She played Baby Rowlf in the Emmy Award-winning Jim Henson's Muppet Babies, Honker Muddlefoot in Darkwing Duck, Sheila the Thief in Dungeons & Dragons, Richie from Richie Rich, Soonie Gummy from Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears, Alex Total Spies, I'm running out of breath, young Han Solo from Lego Star Wars, Padawan Menace, and many others. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce voice actor, coach, author, and speaker, Miss Kate Leigh. Thank you.
Wow, peanuts and pretzels, it's really cool to be here. Who's seen Truth Traveler already? All right, that's super cool. There he is. All right, well, it's so nice of you guys to come out here and see me. And now I can kind of see you better without the glare. Make sure that everybody, are we good on the tech people? Good. All right, awesome. All right, so I'm just going to, first I just want to clear up something. My last name is Leigh. It's not my middle name, it's my last name. So you can call me Katie. You don't have to say, all right, that's all. I just want to say that. All right, so I made a little presentation to give you go through a little trip through Miss Katie's life here. How many of you want to be voice actors? Right on, okay, we got some actors. So, how many of you are good students but talk too much? Right, okay, that was me. Good student but talks too much. As a matter of fact, when I decided to finally get my degree in broadcasting, and I went to San Francisco State, and I had a teacher in a morning class and in an afternoon class. And he wouldn't let me talk in the afternoon class because in the morning my voice is a little bit more like this, and as the day goes on it gets a little bit higher. And he just didn't like that, and he said, if you want to get into broadcasting, you're going to have to learn to change your voice. I'm like, all right, okay, whatever. And then I found character voice acting. And that's what I ended up doing. And one of my first job in Hollywood was at Hanna-Barbera, and I worked on a show. And I wrote to my professor who had written the textbook on radio and television announcing, and I said, look, I'm working, and I'm doing something different. And then guess what? He put me in his textbook. So I have a little paragraph in the textbook that not all voice acting is the same, right? So I found does this play? Whoop, come back. It's really good. Come back. Play. Oh, well, you got the idea. All right, so I did start my career. I went to Hollywood to work because that's where most animation was done. And one of the first, I was working on a couple series, and then I went in to audition for this show called Dumbo Circus. And that show, we worked 3 days a week for about a year and a half, which is completely unheard of. I don't know, anybody old enough here to have cable? And did you have the Disney Channel? I want you to see who was in the cast. Hal Smith, Will Ryan, me, as you can see, it's my last name, Kate Leigh. Jim Cummings was his first show, Walker Edmiston, a guy named Ron Gans, and Patty Paris. Do any of those names sound familiar to anybody? Yeah. So the funny thing is, okay, so now I'm going to tell you a little, I'm going to skip over here. So in the meantime, just before Dumbo Circus, I got saved. I gave my life to the Lord. I wanted to follow him, and I would pray, God, I want to do something for you. I want to do something in Christian ministry. You know, how do I meet people who will do that? And I was listening to Focus on the Family radio in my car. Maybe some of you have heard this story. Driving out to a place I'd never been before called Arcadia, California. And all of a sudden I heard this audio drama. And I heard Hal Smith's voice. I went, they're doing an audio drama. It was a family portraits, is what it was called. And then they're using professional actors. This is amazing. So, some of you are going to have to look this up. I pulled my car over and found a telephone booth with a phone book in it and looked up the address for Focus on the Family, and I drove over there and I gave them my demo. They let me in. It was a little office back then. How many have been to Colorado Springs to Wits End? It's a huge place, right? It was just an office building. And Phil Lawler and Steve Harris were in their office, and I came in, I gave them my demo. I said, I'd really like to work with you guys. And they were kind enough to give me a part in Family Portraits, and I did some other work for them when they put their magazine on tape. And that was it. I started to work from that. It was really cool. In the meantime, has anybody heard the name Bob Luttrell? Okay. So when I first started working in Hollywood, Bob Luttrell worked at a place called Studio House, a recording studio. And I really wanted to do audio drama. And I recorded a commercial there, believe it or not, with Nancy Cartwright, who's Bart Simpson. I found out they did these Salvation Army things there. So on my lunch break, I worked at another recording studio down the street. I go down and I try to get to know Bob Luttrell, just because, can I work on this thing with you? He's like, no, it's only mostly older men. If you've ever seen Bob, his face kind of looks like this. So anyway, and I bugged him a lot. So this is the funny thing. Focus hired Bob. I didn't know he was a believer. Hired Bob to cast Adventures in Odyssey. So he picks the people he knows, some actors, and then Phil and Steve knew me because I actually made the point of going over there to meet them. And when I went to do my first show, who was there? All my friends that I had been working with. Already, I didn't know they were part of the cast. Is that a God thing or what, right? We already knew each other. We just jumped right in and played different characters, and it was super fun. So, that was amazing to me. That was a miracle. And since then, Will Ryan and I became good buddies. You know, Connie and Eugene kind of go hand in hand, but we also worked on the Gummy Bears together. We also worked on Teddy Ruxpin together. We worked on some music machine stuff together. Trying to think what else Will and I did. Something else, I'm sure. And now we have a show called Tell You Later, which is on YouTube, but also on Patreon supported. We started that show before he unfortunately passed away. But if you want to see the two of us talking to each other live on camera, you can look up Tell You Later. And so anyway, I just wanted to share with you guys how I think life works for me. And I think, let's see if this will work. So see this line here? This is your circumstances. This is where you're born, the family you grew up with. I never thought I'd be an actor. I thought I would be a teacher or an executive secretary because they made a lot of money. But my heart, I love listening to the radio. I love to learn. I studied improv. And so what happens, I think, where you have your family, the things, your situation, the education you have, and then you have your, not just your heart, but your heart represents your desires, your interests, your education. Whoops. And then your talents, your skills, and your experiences in life, at some point they intersect. And that's how you find your aha. I didn't know I was going to be a voice actor. I just knew I was a good student who talked too much, right? So this is what people think success looks like. Oh, I just go to school and I study this thing and I'm just going to keep climbing, up the chart. But it really looks kind of like this, you guys, all you younger folks in here. It's like, well, I go here and I do this and I try this and that didn't work and I knock on this door and they said no, so I have to knock on another door and, oh, wait, I think I'm really good at this skill. And eventually you find that aha. So I want to share something with you about hearing. Because this sounds a little morbid, but I think what I do is such a blessing because they say that it's the last sense we have to disappear before we go to be with the Lord. So people can always hear. Hearing is very intimate and such a blessing to work in audio because, how many of you think you know me from listening to me? A lot. It's just very intimate. It's a wonderful thing. And I have that opportunity to be a part of your life because of it. Let's see if I can remember what I put here. Yeah, and the Bible says that death and life are in the power of the tongue. So we want to be careful about what we say and who we say it to, right? But God has ordained us all to be ministers, right? So the basic tool as a voice actor is my tongue, right? And what does Spider-Man say? With great power comes what? That's right. So we shouldn't take the power of creating with words or speaking them lightly, I don't think. Let's see. So I have, let's see, what do I have? Yeah, another verse. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus. So Jesus is the author of our lives, and we can trust him with each chapter. He answered my prayer. How many Connie Kendalls are out there? And I've gotten to be here for 39 years. That's crazy, right? And how many people have been affected? It's not me, it's the team. I just read the words, right? I don't write them. This whole production is so wonderful. So we take responsibility for our actions. Remember the choices that we make, but God is responsible for the results. Do you think we can trust him with the results? I think so. So let me skip over. So we each have a gift. Mine happens to be what I can do with my voice, but all of you have a gift too, and you're supposed to use it as a good steward. Some of you can draw, some of you can dance, some of you are good with math. You all have different things, but I think if we focus on God and how to be of service to others with our gifts, then we reap the benefits of good stewardship. What does God say if we do a good job? Well done, right? Well done. So we make friends, we improve our skills, and doors will open. Some of you are wondering, what am I going to do with my life? But our paths and our purpose become clear. We grow in confidence. That's what we're supposed to do. It does all start with the director. When I go into the studio, sometimes they give me the whole script, and lately, well, they do give us the whole script. Sometimes I read the whole script, sometimes I don't. And sometimes they don't. You don't see the whole thing. We come in and sometimes do scenes separately. But I have to trust the director to tell me what's going on. I also know that the director he read the whole script, and sometimes he wrote the whole script, and he knows what's going to happen from beginning to end, and he knows why certain things happen in the script, what they're going to lead up to, right? Can anybody guess where I'm going with this?
God's the director.
God's our director. And what did he write? What's the script? The Bible. That's right. And even stuff that isn't in the Bible, although I think he did communicate a lot of stuff to us, we just don't understand it. But he knows the big picture, right? So, if I can trust my director to tell me what to do what I have to do to move the story forward, that's what I want to encourage you to remember, that God's our director, and if we just do the things he told, even sometimes when we don't understand it, which if you've ever watched behind the scenes, there are some times when I don't understand it, and I'll ask a lot of questions, and sometimes they give me answers, and sometimes they don't, just like God. Sometimes they say, you'll find out later, just read the words, just do what you're supposed to do, and sometimes they'll explain it, and then I find out like, oh, okay. That's the reason. So, so basically, even though my work is in the recording studio and doing that kind of stuff, you all have assignments here on earth too. And we all, as Christians, I figure most of us here are, we have a wonderful director. And that scripture I showed, which was out of order, yeah. Fix our eyes on Jesus, the author, writer, and perfecter of our faith. Perfecter of our faith means he's going to show us in the end why we did what we did, why he told us to do those things, and what the benefit will be. Does that make sense? Yeah, I hope so. That's kind of all I had to share. My video was awesome. I think you can go to my YouTube page and see it. It's there. I don't know why it wasn't working, but we're going to bring up Mr. Mike now, right?
Wow. Round of applause. It's theater, right? So you never know what's going to happen. Here we go. We'll figure it out. You all submitted a list, several incredible questions, and I got the chance to go over them as a part of registering. And I will say that when me and Katie were in the office a few minutes ago going over the questions, one of the comments she made was like, wow, some of these are really in depth. Like, so whoever's putting these together, kudos to you all. We've got some really good questions.
You're smart cookies.
Smart cookies. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
are you guys ready? Okay.
If we don't answer yours, I am sorry, but we've got a lot of good ones. What was your very first voice acting role?
My first voice acting role, was the Shriners Institute.
Okay.
They're a charitable organization,
Yeah.
and they help people, they have a Burns Institute that helps people who've been burned. And you know who Mel Blanc is? Well, his son, Noel, was a friend of my stepmom's. These are all benefits of growing up in Hollywood, and you can read it in my book that's coming out next month. Anyway, she told Noel, because she worked where he got his hair cut somehow, that I was doing voiceover. And he said, we have this little girl in this video, and she gets burned in the bathtub. Do you think your daughter could scream for her?
Okay.
And I drove over to his house. He had the studio in his house, and I had to sound like I was getting burned. You didn't expect that,
Not
did
what
you?
I thought was coming. Okay, fair enough. Good. Yeah. I would ask you to do it.
This is Truth Traveler.
This is Truth.
I have to tell the truth.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay, so who has been your biggest voice acting role model or inspiration?
You know, comedians. I love
Okay.
watching comedy, and I think so much of I coach voice acting, and so much of it is humor and knowing how to, and be spontaneous and have fun.
Is that your improv training?
Improv training is really important too.
Any of you all ever done improv?
Yeah,
We've got a couple out there. Okay.
yeah, it's really important. As far as, because in sketch comedy, people portray different characters. So I want to make a point, and Jim Cummings will say this: we don't do voices; we create characters.
Yeah.
So it's not about voice acting. A little V, big A. Jess Harnell always says. So why the comedians and the sketch actors? Because they created different characters. And I think that's what inspired me.
Love that. Well,
Yes, what's your next question?
how did you get connected with Truth Traveler and the role of P.O.D?
I'm so glad you asked because I forgot to tell you guys in my little story here. Okay, so real quick, Leilani
Yep.
Wells was an intern at Focus on the Family, their
Okay.
very first intern, and she wrote a script for Odyssey. And when they recorded it, they decided to record it, she came out to California. I met her, and I've been friends with her mother and her ever since. Fast forward, Leilani now works at Answers
In
in
Genesis.
Genesis. And she wrote the character of P.O.D, and she said, Katie, I was thinking about you, would you like to voice this? And I was like, let me think. Yes, I would, of course, yes. So that's how I got connected. So these connections in my life
Yeah.
are so amazing. And I'm so thankful to God because He did that squiggly line for me.
Orchestrating the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you plan to retire someday, or do you hope to continue voice acting as long as possible?
Well, theoretically, I guess I'm retired because I get Social Security. But no, I am. No, you don't retire from this. In Odyssey, we had, Jack and Joanne. They worked till they were like 94 years
Wow.
old. Yeah. So as long as people will have me, why not?
Will you have her? Okay. I thought that would be the answer. Okay, so speaking of Connie Kendall,
Yes.
what do you enjoy most about voicing Connie Kendall?
Meeting all of you.
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
And you said 39 years?
And hearing your stories. Yeah, I meet grandparents and their kids, and then their grandkids all listen to Odyssey, and it's just, who could imagine that what I do could bless so many people and be
Yeah.
so much a part of their lives? I mean, that's something only God can do. And with a team, like I said, it's not just me. I just get to be a part of it, and it's such a blessing. You don't know what a blessing y'all are to us.
Okay. I might know this, but I don't know. Let's ask it anyway. What character from your career has actually been your favorite to voice?
Other than Connie.
Other than Connie.
Okay, I really like Connie because I don't know if you can tell, but we're kind of similar. And I don't have to change my voice. And that's kind of our Adventures in Oddity book that we have out on the table. Will and I wrote he goes, to prove once and for all that we're nothing like the characters we play on Adventures in Odyssey. Which isn't true. And he did all the artwork in that book, by the way. But my other one is, I did the voice of Baby Rowlf on the Muppet Babies. And nobody really expected that. And
I didn't see that coming
and I got to meet and work with Jim Henson, which was a huge dream of mine. I'm a huge fan, so yeah, that was cool.
Well,
That was really cool.
What was the most challenging work you've ever done in terms of voice acting?
I don't know. What's the most challenging? The most challenging is when I have to read a script that makes me cry to get through it.
You had one of the questions in here that you said, I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that.
Yeah, and then sometimes, like even this week, you guys, if you are going to be an actor, don't audition with a voice you can't do for an hour. And I kind of did that on Monday, and I had this really I was doing the voice of nicotine for an anti-vape ad. And it was really, really gravelly, and they wanted it more gravelly than what I was comfortable doing, but you try to, the client, we were talking about pleasing your
Yep.
client, and so I had a sore throat afterwards. But
Lessons learned.
recently, yes.
All right. Regarding Connie's relationships, which one of them did you most want to see work out? Mitch, Jeff, or Jason?
Okay, how many
We're
want,
putting her on the spot.
how many want Mitch? Around here, let me hear it. Yeah?
Yeah, okay.
How many want Jeff? How
Okay.
many want Jason?
I think that Jason's had it.
Yeah, me too, and to answer the follow-up question, they always said, Connie can't go out with Jason, he's too old.
There's opinions in this room. There's a lot of opinions in this room.
Yeah, so that's a bummer, but instead we go to church together.
Okay. Perfect. Well, how do you feel about Connie's new character design?
How do you feel about Connie's new character design? Oh, okay, how many thumbs up?
Okay.
Yeah, how many thumbs down? Okay, so we're about even. You know
So
what?
mixed.
They've changed her so much over the years. I just don't pay much attention. Because really, the fact is, if you want to know the truth, of course you do, because that's why you're here. Connie was, I don't even like to see her being drawn at all. Because it's supposed to be our imagination.
Yeah.
There's no reason, in my opinion, you guys are filming this, I shouldn't say. Well, I know when they made the cartoon, they had
Yeah.
to design it.
Sure.
Okay, but you got like, the audio people and the visual people. So we kind of have a little difference of opinion.
What's your favorite kind of ice cream?
My favorite kind of ice cream is chocolate mint chip. And which I will get some before I leave here. But I know we have Wad Fam chalk solids at Wits End, and we have raspberry ripple ice cream, and I have 3 Connie candles left at my table that smell like those, so you can check them out if you
Very
want.
good.
Yeah.
Well, how about one more question? And I think this is a
Can
great...
I dance? No! What?
It wasn't... This is a serious question. How do you feel to know you have impacted, and this means a lot, impacted tens of thousands of kids, teens, and families through the role of Connie?
Like this.
Yes, ma'am.
It's amazing. I feel really blessed and overwhelmed. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege. Kate Leigh.
Thanks, guys.
So here's what we're going to do. Katie's going to go out and we're going to have a meet greet here in a few minutes, but we want to bless you all with a showing of Fear Not. We're going to got a few other people that are going to usher in just here in a second. After that Fear Not presentation is done, she's going to be out there with books and posters and all sorts of things and an opportunity to actually sit and get a picture and visit with her.
And plushies.
And plushies
Other
and maybe a voice or two here and there. She's got water,
Oh,
so...
can I say something? I know you cut my mic. Oh, now you brought it
Nope,
back.
there it is.
Whoever you are, thank you. I'm happy to take pictures with anybody if you want to take pictures with me.
There,
Especially those
Especially
girls
those, right
over
there.
there. Yes, we're gonna get down. Okay.
Great. Great. Well,
Thank you.
one more time, Miss Katie Leigh.